Final week of the Olympic Games. And it is the final week of the Olympics. And we're also now, get this, we got Major League Baseball also coming up on Friday, I think. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that the Phillies, I think they start on Saturday in Dunedin against the Blue Jays, who are the defending American League champions. That sound right? Exhibition baseball is here, and Phillies go from Clearwater up to Dunedin. They're in the Tampa Bay area, so they get a chance to play against those defending champions. They don't have Bo Bichette on that Blue Jays team. He's now with the Mets. But exhibition baseball is here. Hey, by the way, news with the Eagles is always here. And it is always, this team never, ever is short of content. And I was listening to Xander and John today, and they were going over Cam Jurgens and what he's now going through with this stem cell research and this procedure that he went through. I should say stem cell research because each and every single month, the NFL Players Association, they come to me and ask me if I want to do stem cell stuff. You can do it in California. You could do it in Mexico. There's a couple places that you can do still in the States, but it's more high tech outside of the country. Like, if you remember right, Christian McCaffrey had to do some stuff with his, I think it was his knee, and he did that in Europe. Do you guys remember when Peyton Manning hurt his neck and he couldn't do a procedure in America, so he had to go overseas to do that also with his neck? So do NFL players do this on a regular basis? They're starting to do it more and more. And get this, it's not really supposed to be recommended by the NFL doctors. So what you do is you get your second opinion, you get your own physician, and your physician will look into it for you and give you an opportunity to try to go through research that or procedures that traditionally are done here in America. By the way, Angelo Cataldi will join us at 3:30. And I'm going to tell you, again, Florida does stem cell work too. Yes, there's certain states that allow this. California does a little bit of it too. Arizona does it. Mike Golick has contacted me numerous times. I know Mike Golick has gone through stem cell stuff. I guess it was a bad knee he had. So let me give you guys a little bit of, and somebody sent me what Cam Jurgens is going through. Now, he goes down to Medellin. Now, people have gone there. I know a lot of people who have gone to Medellin, Colombia to get this stem cell procedure done. So let me give you exactly what's going on with him. We should probably get also, a doctor on and get his opinions on it too. Using stem cell, it repairs or replaces really like tissues that have been damaged. And it's diseased or dysfunctional tissues that are dying. This is how it works. Now, the NFLPA sent me this. Stem cells are introduced into the body to target the injured areas where they can deteriorate into needed tissues and to reduce inflammation. He's probably got a lot of swelling in his lower back. Okay? Applications. Common use include treating blood cancers, leukemia, orthopedic injuries, arthritis, ligament damage, and in research potential treatments for diabetes. The risk and considerations. While promising, some procedures are experimental, and that's why he's in Medellin. Okay? Potential risks include immune injection, infections, and tumor formations. So caution, patients should be wary of these crazy clinics. And I'm not saying he's at one. I'm sure he did all of his research. Selling unproven and expensive procedures. By the way, this ain't cheap. Okay? This ain't cheap. Seals, it's my birthday. Do the M-Rays bird feed, John. Shit is hilarious. Howie. There you go. Happy birthday, brother. I appreciate you too. Re-upping here. Oh, yeah, that's Ed Reyes right there. There you go. He's under Howie's desk. Oh, you know. He's under Howie's desk. Happy birthday to you, homie. Appreciate you doing this, right? Yeah, hey, listen. I'm not very high on what's going on here with Cam Jurgens. I think this guy's finished. I think he's finished. I mean, I told you he's never going to be same. You've got to go, and you got to go overseas like this, and you're doing procedures like this, and you can't go through normal surgeries to fix your back, and you got to go through experimental surgeries. You're in bad shape. I mean, you're in bad shape, dude. This is when you leave the country to get a surgery on a back, and you can't get it done with the surgeons that we have in America, and you got to get experimental. This is not just treatments. This is a procedure to try to get deteriorated disc like regenerated again. His discs are like they're dying. And it's in his back. It's one thing to be in your ankle or knee. He's a center. It's a procedure, I know, Bo. It's a procedure to try to get those nerves in those cells back going with blood in it again, right? That's what stem cell research is. We get that stuff all the time in the mail for me to go do that. I get asked by the NFLPA to do this shit all the time. I think this is, hey, this procedure right here is telling you that the surgeries didn't work. Now listen, did the tush push ruin him? It may have. Look at all the guys. You know, I wrote a topic down here. Hey, with Cam Jurgens being injured. So let me ask you something here. Cam Jurgens is a wreck right now. Lane Johnson is debating on retirement and coming back for one more year. The left guard's had 13 surgeries. What's your O-line under Chris Cooper going to be in 2026? How you feeling about that O-line? Hey, fuck the quarterback. How about the O-line? And you let Jeff Stoutland walk out the door? Help me out here. So let's put this out there again. I'm more concerned maybe about the O-line than anything else. Dude, screw the quarterback if he can read a defense. If the O-line is in shambles like this is, hey, how many people think this offensive line's in shambles right now? You got a guy doing a procedure in a foreign country to try to get his nerves back in his lower back. You got Lane Johnson coming back, and you don't know what version you're going to get of Lane. And you got a surgery of 13 on your left guard. What are we talking? And you got a new O-line coach. I mean, do you think they're getting away from running the ball because they have to? We promised our organization line for a short yardage play. Yes, Lane is injured. Cam is injured. Landon is injured. That's 3 guys down. Bro. Right? Where are you going here? Ask yourself about the 2026 offensive line here. I mean, dude. Nope, O-line finally getting healthy now. They're just fine. Guy just went to Columbia to do a procedure on his back. Landon Dickerson has got 13 surgeries, and Lane Johnson wasn't healthy at the end of the year. They're healthy and they're getting back. This guy can't be dumber. And you know what he is? He's a dude that stands on an anthill. Hey, M. Reyes, every single day I count on your dumbness to continue a segment. Thank you very much for your idiotic takes It might go so far, believe me. Everyone knows it now. You're a buffoon. Extra tied on Hurts' uniform this season. Sacked. Round one, essentially going to tell us how they think of our O-line, especially if they take the Penn State guard in the first round. Absolutely. Everyone's fine. Long as we have Lane and Mulata, we're fine. Long as you have Lane, what version of Lane you getting back at 36? Okay? It did? I saw him get his ass kicked in the Niner game. You must have saw a different game because here he is. Hey, birthday kid. I saw Carter get his ass whooped. Trade AJ for offensive line. Yeah, no, that ain't working. Still sounds like Cam is down to his last option to fix his back. That's a very good take. Most people don't do it unless there's no other option. Correct. And the American doctors and the team doctors can't suggest it for anything in the States because it'd be illegal practice because you can't get it done in some places, especially with what he probably did. Carter didn't. No, he had plasma. Correct. 2 different procedures. That's correct. Numb nuts. Not you, Denny. Yeah. It was a plasma. It was injections. Yeah, but no. M. Reyes, the new doctor. He's like CNN. I'm a COVID-19 doctor. Then I'm a tariff expert. Seals, we need 2 OGs and our center's jacked up. Might not seem right, but I do what I can do to sign Tyler Linderbaum, the kid from Baltimore. If he can play, move him the right guard. You win in the middle. Absolutely. I got you. Hey, Denny, yeah, all you, man. You're good. You got good takes. M. Reyes has got takes like, hey, I mean, like, M. Reyes is he's got takes like the Jets. If I was going to compare him to an NFL team, it'd be the Jets. Yeah, the fucking Jets. Jurgens, now like Steve Miller's song, take the money and run. How he has a lot of work to do. How you doing, man? Dr. Reyes. Sounds like the name of the doctor doing cam stem cells in Colombia. Dr. Reyes. Dr. Reyes, I guarantee you he works on the gluteus maximus. Don't you think? Sills, do you think the 2024 run game and long season contributed to this? I do. KC got it done for years, but that was in the pass-focused offense, and they spread the ball out. Absolutely. What was the last time the Eagles traded for a starting O-lineman? Jason Peters? That sounds about right. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind taking Sayamalo back. I wouldn't. Oh, I have a great topic coming up here. Holy shit, we're going to do it here in a minute here, bud. I'm more concerned about this O-line. Right? The O-line. More like Cleveland shit stains. Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Center depth looks good. I'd be interested to hear Sill's opinion on Kendall's preseason and Week 18 start. I thought he played well in limited snaps. I like Lampkins too. Yep. So Chris Cooper now is your O-line coach. And we're going to get to that here in a minute. Get this. Everything's perfect in Philly now. New offense, OTW, Vic Fangio back, Lane's back. Can't wait. All right. Now we go to the topic. So let me get this here. Xander, by the way, Angelo Cataldi at 3:30. And Big Z at 4:30. Hit the like button. Supers go to the top, as you can see. All right. So Sean Mannion, 33. Chris Cooper, who's never coached an offensive line as the head guy except for the Minnesota Vikings. New offensive line coach. And now you have Parks Frazier as your quarterback coach, and he's 34. You got a 33-year-old offensive coordinator who's never called plays, and you got a 34-year-old quarterback coach in Parks Frazier. Jason Peter wasn't an O-line. He was a tight end in Buffalo when he traded for him. Do all research. Jason Peters is going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame as an offensive as an offensive tackle. So what do you make of these hires? Zero experience. Except for maybe Josh Gazard. What do you make of all this? I fired a 34-year-old Parks Frazier. So let me see Parks Frazier. Let me see who he is. Hey, he probably has a deep resume. I'm assuming. But then again, I shouldn't assume anything when it comes to the Eagles. So he's 34. He was a defensive quality control coach in 15. That's not a job. He was a graduate assistant, a GA at Arkansas State in 16 and 17. That's a nothing job. He was an assistant to the head coach in Indianapolis, 18 and 19. That's a get my coffee job. That's not a job. He was a quality control coach in 20. That's not a job. He was the assistant quarterback coach in 21 and 22. That's not a job. He was the interim offensive coordinator in 22. That's a job. Carolina, he was the pass game coordinator in 23. I have to ask you guys something. In 2023, he was the pass game coordinator? Will somebody help me out on something here? Was Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, was he on that team? I don't think Mayfield was Darnold on that team, or was Darnold in the was he already in San Francisco? I'm going to assume Sam Darnold in 23 was in San Francisco and Baker was already in Tampa Bay. Because 22, I think, was Brady's last year. 20, 21, 22. So I'm going to assume that Parks Frazier was there the rookie year of Bryce Young. Darnold was in San Fran? Thanks. Okay. Not my point, Sills. I know he was a Hall of Famer, but when we go to him, he was failing tight end in Buffalo. Okay. All right. I got you, bro. Thank you, Marsh. Appreciate that too very much. Thank you. It was Bryce Young's rookie year. So he was the OC in Bryce Young's rookie year. Not OC. What was he, Parks? He was the pass game coordinator. Well, they benched him that season, right? They put Andy Dalton in. Did they not? Right? So they benched him. Was it his call to bench him? Because he's gotten better. Over the last couple of years, Bryce Young's gotten better. Bryce Young put his team in the playoffs, the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young actually beat the Rams this year. Okay, so again, I'm trying to get context here on who this guy is. So he was the offensive assistant in the Dolphins. That's not really a job. Pass game coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles right now. And in 2025, Parks Frazier was the pass game coordinator for the 25th ranked passing attack. And they elevated him to the quarterback coach? So wait a minute. Let me get this right. Parks Frazier was the pass game coordinator last year? Is that right? They were 25th. And he got elevated to QB coach. Is that right? Yeah. Pass game coordinator in 25. And in 2026, he's now the quarterback coach. Okay. Well, I didn't know that the pass game. So he gets elevated and Kevin Petullo gets demoted. He was just as responsible for the pass game as Kevin Petullo was, wasn't he? How do you get a raise? I mean, how do you get a raise? Yeah, JP had already moved to left tackle when we traded for him. He's still young at the position now. I got it. He's right. Hey, Marsh is right. He primarily played TE. I know all this about him. All of these moves seem rushed and disjointed. Well, let me ask you this. All these guys that they hired, these are all dudes nobody wanted. Maybe because he was assistant quarterback coach in 2021. You know Sirianni's logic. I guess so. Hey, listen, I'm not ripping anything yet. But what are they doing here? Why so young and inexperienced? Why have they gone this lane? What's Jalen think of this? What does that experienced offensive line think of this? You get rid of Stoutland. You bring in a 43-year-old guy who failed in Minnesota as the O-line coach. You hire a guy in 34 years of age as the new quarterback coach who really didn't do anything with Jalen Hurts. Everyone said he had to have a great year a year ago. And he was part of the passing game and putting the passing game coordinator to go. And Sean Mannion, young guns? That's what you're looking for? Young guns? People who've never done shit before? You got a 33-year-old coordinator who's been a coach for 25 months. Parks Frazier's never really had a job. Now he's the QB coach. Chris Cooper failed miserably in Minnesota. They didn't redo his deal. The guy stunk so bad. Help me out here. Where are we going? Okay? Help me out here. What's going to be the excuse when all these amazing coaches in charge land don't get it done yet again this year? It'll be, guess this, it'll be the coaches' issues. It's like a built-in excuse for Nick. It's like a built-in excuse for Jalen. Sills, he was in Carolina when Frank was the coach. I got it. Frank's brought him around. Frank said it on the program. He likes Parks. He thinks he's a smart kid. I heard the same shit about Kevin Patullo. Don't you get it? You're missing the point here. I heard this same stuff last year about Kevin Patullo. It's like they're filling positions just to fill them. Manning doesn't have enough time in the league to have developed relationships in a network. It's a disaster. My question, hey, listen, Rasputin, this thing could go on to turn out to be one of the greatest coaching staffs of all time. But you're doing, I mean, let me see if they've updated their let me see if they've updated their coaching thing. I don't believe it. Philadelphia Eagles. Let's see if they've updated this. And let's go to coaching staff here, team. So let me go to coaching staff. Coaches. Okay. So Parks Frazier is new. Passing game coordinator, that's Christian Parker still. No, there's still guys. They haven't updated it. I don't know who these guys are. I have no idea. They asked Stout to stay on their terms. You missed it, dude. He's not telling you the truth. Hey, take this job or leave. You know how you can get rid of somebody? Hey, guess what we're going to do? We're going to clip your wings and we're going to tell you you're not going to be the run game coordinator. Either take this job or you can go. Here's the job we're offering. And if the guy doesn't want the job, that's a way of pushing someone out the door. Here, get this. Bob, MS, I know, which is why this makes no sense on the other side of the ball. Right, you got all these experienced guys you hire and you bring in really quality good guys on defense. And you bring none of these guys. These are all Nick's buddies. These are guys that are like Nick's buddies. It's like a fraternity. let's see. We already know what you're going to you're going to do. You're going to give Barkley the ball and pass to AJ and Smitty. We already have the structure. We're looking for new ideas. New ideas for guys who have never had jobs? RC3. Really? You're looking for ideas from dudes that have never done it? What an awful take. The same philosophy of hiring coaches on the defensive side seems not to apply on the offensive side. Guys, this is my question to you. What's going on here? This makes no this makes no sense. You hire Parks Frazier, he was a passing game coordinator for Bryce Young, and they yanked him, and they were doing a terrible job with Bryce Young in his rookie year. So bad so, they benched him. He goes to Indianapolis because he's Frank's guy, or he was in Indy because he was Frank's guy. And Frank and Nick have a great relationship. Hey, guess what? The thing I said to you why Frank didn't take that job, it is now even coming more to a head here. Frank didn't want the job because he doesn't want to be involved in all this. Why, if you worked for Frank, why didn't you hire Frank? It's fine, Sills. They all will come in and leave. Nick is on the hot seat. All right, well, let me bring this topic up now. I say this, and you tell me if you disagree. By the way, guys, I appreciate that very much. All the supers, thank you, guys. Please hit the like button. Angelo Cataldi's going to join us at 3:30. All right. Has Nick Sirianni, and this is my opinion. This is not a fact. This is my opinion. Has Nick Sirianni made coaching in Philadelphia undesirable? Yes or no? You hired people that no one else would have hired. Has Nick made coaching in Philly undesirable? Okay? I want you to think about what I just said. Has Nick Sirianni, if you're an assistant coach, has he made it undesirable to want to coach here? Name me one fucking guy with any experience on offense. Name me one. Dude, people want to work for Vic. Look at the guys you hired. These are people no one would have hired. Nobody would have hired these guys. Who? Chris Cooper? Nobody was knocking his door down to be an offensive line coach. Nobody was knocking Sean Mannion's door down to be a offensive coordinator. Nobody was knocking down Parks Frazier for being a quarterback coach. Yes, there's already proof of that. Hell yes. That shit brain made it undesirable. I'm gonna ask Angelo that at 3:30. You pick wrong part of the McVay tree. Yes, bring back Peterson. I would love to see Peterson with Hurts. He said it on this program that he would do it. Seals, tell me one thing, please. Nick does, and I'll wait. He kisses Howie's ass and the owner's ass. Great. That's why he keeps his gig. And by the way, that debate that Xander and I have, okay, about him getting it all the credit when they win, and no one wants to give it to him. Well, again, when he can't figure it out and he can't beat teams like San Francisco because he's not a good coach, it's not that I don't give him credit. or I blame him for that. I never thought he was a good coach in the beginning. I think he's become a really good front office type coach, which means he doesn't really have any responsibilities in coaching. They haven't fucking developed anybody. Who they developed? Who have they developed on offense? The quarterback? They haven't developed that guy. He's regressed. A.J. Brown, who was, hey, by the way, Devontae Smith has not developed. You throw to two guys, right and left, right and left. You don't have a progressing passing game. When only two people get the ball, and the majority, they get 70% of the footballs thrown to them. Okay? You think Nick Sirianni developed Jordan Mailata. You might want to think Jeff Stoutland every single time the guy goes on television, RC3, and says, I went to Stoutland University. I don't hear him say, fucking, I went to Sirianni University. Okay? So wait a minute. This guy, get this, folks, RC3 thinks that Nick Sirianni developed Jordan Mailata and not Jeff Stoutland. Okay. Well, Jeff Stoutland was coaching Hall of Fame players before Nick even showed up. And also, too, he had a nice Super Bowl ring on his finger before Nick even showed up. Yeah, Nick Sirianni developed Jordan Mailata. Are you crazy? He developed Jordan Mailata. That's an M. Reyes take, dude. For Nick being hired as an offensive guru was a joke. That was the hire. They hired him because he was a guru. Scott was coaching Hall of Fame players when Sirianni was still getting his ass whipped by his mama. This guy's been coaching Hall of Fame players his entire career. Look at what he did at Alabama. So let me get this right. Stoutland's got national title rings. Hey, Xander, Stoutland won a national title at Alabama, right? So he's got a national title ring and he's got 2 Super Bowl rings. Really? You're trying to tell me you think Nick developed Jordan Mailata? Got to be kidding me, guy. So those experienced coaches don't want to make a one-year stop. These kids are auditioning for future jobs, and Howie's getting up close. Look at him. Audition season. That's what this looks like. You're dead right. So I'll ask you one more time. Hey, Prince, Sirianni's made this place undesirable to want to be an assistant coach, don't you think? Don't you think? Dude, all the experienced coaches didn't even give it a thought to coach here. These fans will praise Nick and shit on the players. I'm just asking a question here. Look at the people you've hired. Dude, you know why you're getting away with it on defense? Because people want to work for Vic. Nick's not making those decisions over there on who to hire as a defensive back coach. That's Vic Fangio. Only thing Nick has developed is how to give a word salad press conference. He's gotten better at it. Here, folks, you got to have the other side. This is what we do here. We got to have the other side. Nick had the authority to be like, nah, fuck that. We don't need Fireman Part 2 when we draft. But Sirianni let it happen. A head coach makes executive decisions. This guy thinks that Nick Sirianni makes executive decisions without going to Howie, when he praises Howie every single day for all the things Howie does. And for Mr. Laurie. Calls him Mr. Laurie. Let me hook you up on something. If I work for somebody, I don't call him Mr. I do a service for you too, dude. He's not my dad. I call my dad or somebody else or an elderly guy. Like, hey, mister, I may. But if I work for you, dude, hey, we have a working relationship here. You're not my father. Who said Nick developed Mailata? I'm right. RC3 said it. He said that Nick Sirianni developed Jordan Mailata. See, I need my freaking wrench back. When I got in trouble, just then, big a dumbass. Absolutely no. It was them. RC3 said that that Nick Sirianni developed Jordan Mailata. Okay. So let me wait. One more thing, too. So you're going to draft the first round offensive lineman and you're going to have Chris Cooper develop him? Didn't the Vikings draft an offensive lineman and a high pick the last 2 years, and the guy was a shit show? Is that what you're going to do? Executive decisions. Nick's balls are clipped and keeps how he's. Sills, doesn't Sirianni have leverage because of his record? Yes. Yes. By the way, here's what I'll give Nick credit for. Being a political head coach, knowing the temperature. Can I tell you what that means? Never go to bat for your coaches or you lose your job. You know the fastest way to lose your job as a head coach? Stick up for Press Taylor. Stick up for a guy like Tony Dungy did when he had an offensive coordinator. And he wanted to stick up for him. Or like Mike Munchak when he was sticking up for an offensive line coach and he quit the Tennessee Titans. You want to get fired? Stick up for an assistant coach that they want to make a move on. That's how you get fired. You know how Nick will never be fired? He ain't going to battle for anybody. He's not. Now, I've got to tell you, I think the only guy he may have battled for was Kevin Patullo. Because Kevin Patullo was not fired. Kevin Patullo was demoted and then left for the Miami Dolphin job. Look what happened when they brought in Kellen Moore. When they brought in Kellen Moore, they ended up going to a heavy run and the quarterback couldn't do it. Well, the quarterback, again, like everyone said that year in 24, he didn't need to. I got to tell you this. How about this dual threat? Don't you think that 24 exposed Hurts more? When, I remember Colin Cowherd going on the air saying, it's pretty wild to sit there and go to the quarterback and tell him, hey, guy, I don't need you to do anything. Just don't turn the ball over. That's kind of wild. Right? Mark was in the chat. It was going to be on the show. Mark saw him and gave him a boot. Imagine Sills calling Zan. Dude, I'll tell you what. I'm not talking about disrespecting people. I'm just talking about, hey, when people work for other people, you're doing a service too. You got a working relationship, not a father-son relationship. It's one thing if I'm living in the Krause's house or something. That's a different story. When you work for people, you got to have a business relationship. Mr. Laurie? Is he your fucking dad? But by the way, I'm not talking about shitting and disrespecting people. I respect a lot of folk. So, you think Stout would ever consider coming back if Nick gets fired? Depends who the head coach is. Like, would Jeff Stoutland come back if Mike Tomlin was the coach? Hell yeah. Right? Stout chose to leave. Get over you sound like a sad ex-girlfriend. The front office is moving in a different direction. Okay. Hey, Big Ed, what direction is that? What direction is that? 33 and 34-year-old coaches that have never done it? Hook me up here, Big Ed. Hey, hook me up here. What moving in what direction is this? What direction is this? Into the land of the unknown? How about the guys you hired? You didn't hire anybody wanted. There's not one dude on that offensive staff anybody wanted. Nobody. The O-line coach was relieved of his duties, or they didn't redo his contract. They wanted him out. You picked him up. How about this? How many people believe that the O-line coach that you replaced Stoutland with you think is a top flight guy. I would do everything in my power if I was Howie to get Tomlin in here in 26 after this entire staff it gets set to the sun. Absolutely. Hey, watch this. Got to have the other side. You got to have buffoonery here. The direction of hiring young, talented coaches. How do you know they're talented? They haven't been in the league long enough. That word hopefully is not a strategy. Don't get poached. He thinks these coaches that were just hanging around here. Hey, guys, the last game was what, January 4th? What was the last football game in the regular season? It was January 4th. That's over a month and a week ago. And these dudes that you hired, nobody wanted. Nobody wanted these guys. We wanted coaches who playbook wasn't already out there. You wanted coaches, you mean who don't have a playbook. How could he have a playbook? Parker is poached? These guys, I mean, hey, listen. He makes the show sound smarter because I'm the one talking, and this guy here has no brains. It's great. M. Reyes, the more he talks, the smarter I look. Seals, if a team gets rid of the entire offense and changes to an offense that your quarterback is not suited for, it tells you that this is Jalen Hurts' last year. I happen to agree with you. No matter what happens, it's going to be the same results. If Jalen is here, the book is out. He can't bail out the offense. He's not getting any faster. Yeah, he's not going to run. Only thing these other coaches are poaching are eggs. Because I represent the people with IQs higher than turnip cells. Hey, M. Reyes, guys, this guy thinks that the people that they've hired, that's a smart move. How come you couldn't hire anybody you wanted? M. Reyes, how come you couldn't hire anybody you wanted? Well, let me guess. This is the coaching staff offensively you wanted. Is that right? These were your number one choices when it came to a coordinator. Is that right? A quarterback coach who you elevated from within, who was the pass game coordinator a year ago, and the pass game blew. So these are the guys that they wanted. These are their number one choices, in your opinion. If it's so great to coach in Philly, these are the people they wanted from the beginning, right? Chris Cooper to replace Stoutland. They elevated. Why did they wait so long to elevate Parks Frazier? He was in the building. Why didn't they do it right away when they hired the offensive coordinator, Sean Mannion? How come they just didn't fire Loeffler right away and elevate him? How come they waited until February 17th? Did they want somebody else? Or no? So these are the guys they wanted from day one. Every one of these guys. Is that right? Here's another Einstein. If the Eagles have success this season, Jalen does great. You have 5 years worth of bad takes from Sills. Actually, I've had one bad year. 24. 22, I was correct. 21, I was correct. 23, I was nails correct. 24, absolutely bad. 25, nails down. Completely right about your team. Seals, this team, and by the way, I'm not wrong about Hurts in his skill set. I'm not wrong about him. And by the way, your coach thinks that way about him. Seals, this team is bipolar. We hire experience on D and develop players, but on O, we hire kids that chase off experience. I don't get it. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, dude. And Reyes says Hurts after altar prayer. That's funny. Niners are a dumpster every year except 23 when they almost had it. Yeah, they were lead going into the final frame of that overtime game against Kansas City. Okay? Seals, you shit on Hurts every year, though. Well, because I don't believe he's an elite guy. I think he's a really good player. He's just not like one of the elite guys in the game. And you guys make him out to be, and he's not. I think the general manager's elite. Here, I'll tell you what's elite on your team. The GM, the owner in many ways, the D coordinator's elite. Mulata and Lane are elite. Cooper's elite. Q's elite. That Bobby King, that linebacker coach, and Clint Hurt, those guys are elite. Those guys are good. That's about it. But I don't think he sucks. Prince, I don't think he sucks. 2024 Super Bowl MVP means you were wrong on Hurts every take for 4 years. Not true. I don't really look at the MVP of the Super Bowl like you do. He played 60 minutes of football, dude. He didn't play 6 months of great football that year. He had a really good Super Bowl. I saw Nick Foles have a great Super Bowl. I saw Nick Foles almost do the same exact thing that Jalen Hurts did. Had a good NFC Championship game and had a Super Bowl. Nick Foles ain't elite. And Nick Foles is a better passer in the pocket than Jalen. I mean, dude, Nick Foles is a better quarterback in the pocket than Jalen Hurts will ever be. And he's a better athlete. Great playoff run. He didn't have a great playoff run. Hurts didn't have a great playoff run the Super Bowl year. Yeah, but Nick Foles never had an All-Pro, and what Nick Foles won the Super Bowl MVP. Carson Wentz did. Carson Wentz finished second in the MVP voting. Carson Wentz is a Pro Bowler. Carson Wentz has the records for single-season passing in Philadelphia Eagle history. He's the only quarterback ever to throw for 4K in your history. He's thrown for 30 touchdowns. He owns single-season records in both distinctions. You know that? Seals, do you believe 26 will implode? I do. Because of all the offensive hires, I do. I don't buy it. I've never seen it work like this. I've never seen that. If you would have kept Stoutland, maybe. And if you're going to draft hey, by the way, you're going to draft an offensive lineman and have Chris Cooper develop him. Let me hook you up on a little history on Chris Cooper, the new O-line coach. Here, I'll show you something here. Somebody sent this to me. I got to put this up here. So Minnesota Vikings, they parted ways with Chris Cooper after a failed overhaul of the offensive line this season. Vikings part ways with coach after major blunders. Those were the headlines in Minnesota. Okay? Those were the headlines for him. Seals, what are the chances the Eagles get Sellers next year? I like that kid. No. I think they're going to be improved. But to win the division, I don't think that much improvement. Like, they might win 7 games. Look, I think the team that wins the NFC East this coming season be about a 500 team. There aren't that many elite players in the NFL. There's only a handful. Well, Prince, I saw, like I said, you're right. You don't have to be elite to win a Super Bowl. Last 2 years, 2 quarterbacks that are not elite won Super Bowls. Hurts and Darnold. Foles got paid like he was elite after the bowl. Okay. That don't mean he's elite. Remember this, Ramir. Paychecks don't mean you're elite. Paychecks mean that you paid the next guy because, like you guys say, that's the market. That doesn't mean he deserves it. People think when these quarterbacks get paid that that's automatically a sign that they're elite. You think Trevor Lawrence deserves $55 million? Do you? Kyler Murray, 48. Me personally, I'm doing what Seattle did and what Philly does. I'm going to put my time and money. Do you know what does Philadelphia do better than the Bills? What do they do better than the Bills? What do you think? As far as I'm concerned, Philadelphia got a gold mine in Hurts at $50 million. They ain't paying him more than that. For what? He doesn't do more than that. You know why? It's easier to build around him. Don't turn the ball over. Howie goes out, and they do a great job at building the team. Buffalo doesn't do a good job building around Allen. They use Allen the same way the Bengals use Burrow. They feel if you got a superstar player, I don't have to do as much and spend as much. It's cheaper to spend money on guys like Kyler Murray. And it's cheaper to spend money on guys like Joe Burrow than to sit there and have to pay money for Trey Hendrickson, or for Jesse Bates, or to build a team. The Eagles will spend money. Remember, you have a $200 million offensive side of the ball payroll. Name me a team in the NFL that has a $200 million offensive payroll. You can't find one. You can't. And the only reason that Seattle, which will come to a decision that they're going to have to make, you're going to have to pay JSN. You're going to have to pay that offensive line. Are you going to pay Kenny Walker? He's on a rookie deal still from Michigan State. Are you going to pay that? That'll be interesting since the team's for sale. Paul Allen's wife doesn't own the team anymore. Who's going to pay him? Hey, don't say sure. That's not how this works. You know how you hide behind bad decisions? You have an elite quarterback. Look at Dallas. Dallas has an elite quarterback, and they do shit with him. That's spending money on defense. They got rid of Michael Parsons. They didn't want to pay $41 million. So they got rid of him. They're spending all their money on CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, probably. The offensive line's all on rookie deals. It's cheaper. It's cheaper for the Cowboys to spend $150 million on 3 dudes than to build a team. It's not the point whether he chokes in December. You're missing the point. You don't have to fucking build a team and spend a ton of money like Jeffrey Lurie does. 8 wins, new quarterback in week 10 will start. Goober Sirianni will be fired. Barkley will be benched, and AJ will run off the field with his shirt off. Holy cow, you're trying to tell me that you're going to have another Antonio Brown? Seals, thoughts on Chubb and Hill to the Birds. All right. I think I got that here. Nick Chubb had great years in Denver. Who was the head coach? Who was the head coach in Denver when Chubb played there? Anybody know? Anybody know who the head coach was in Denver when Nick Chubb played there? Vic, right? Does anybody know when Chubb was traded to Miami, who the DC was in Miami? Anybody know? Was Vic, right? Well, I think Bradley Chubb's a better ball player than Jalen Phillips. Not by a lot. I think they're pretty compatible with one another. And 2023, I think Chubb missed the whole year. It's concerning. He's 28. But Chubb's going to cost you around 12 to 14 million, 12 to 13 million. I'd rather pay for that than 23 million, 24 million for Jalen Phillips. That's going to fit right up Howie's road, man. 13 to 14 million. Bring Bradley Chubb in. Replace Jalen Phillips with him. I think you get the same guy, 10 million cheaper. I could take that money and maybe offer it up to Nakobe to try to entice him to stay. It's kind of what I would do. Bradley Chubb's a good player. He had 8.5 sacks this last year in a shitty organization run by Stephen Ross. I mean, Stephen Ross, dude, you want to know what a bad organization is? All right. So the tank for Tua and the era of tank for Tua, you could have took Justin Herbert, but you tanked for Tua. It cost you your GM and Chris Greer. It cost you Brian Flores. It cost you Mike McDaniel. And it cost you Tagovailoa. And you did not win a playoff game in that entire time. I mean, what were you tanking for? It's a complete disaster. Herbert's ass? Well, he's 2-1 against you. Actually, I think he's 3-1. Rather draft a young player at edge. So wait a minute, Flexen. You'd rather draft a young player at edge. You mean like what, Nolan Smith? Because why? Howie's gotten edge rushers right? You may have gotten it right with Alex Hunt. Name me one guy he's hired and drafted in the last 10 years at edge that you went, wow. Outside of, we think Alex Hunt can be that guy. Name me one guy. Give me one edge rusher, actually, in the last 15 years that they've drafted. Okay? Okay, Josh Sweat. BG wasn't drafted in the last 15 years. Sweat. Who else? Gonna be? Wake me up when that happens. Sweat. Barnett's not a... You're going to try to tell me you think Derek Barnett, one guy in 15 years, one guy at edge, one dude, okay? Yes, I did. One player. Thank you for the cement. One player, you're right, in 15 years in the draft. And then you know what they did? They let him walk. They let him walk, and then they let Derek Barnett was not good. Thank you. He was okay. Okay? So think about it. One guy in 15 years, and you let him walk. And you want him to go in the draft and pick up a guy that you think he's going to land on instead of going for the sure thing. Hey, dude, there's a reason free agency is a lesser of a gamble. It just costs you more. You'll always win the debate. He's not an elite quarterback because there's only 4 or 5 that's white guys, Daniel Jones. That's right. Ramir. Well, if he's not elite, I'm not going to pay elite money. I'm going to use that money to build my team. Jalen Hurts is now like the 11th or 12th highest paid quarterback. I think the $50 million that they have with him right now, I think that's a steal. But to me, I'm not paying more than that. He's not going to give me more than that. He's not going to evolve. And by the way, I think it's crazy that the Eagles are expecting him to do and go over and above when other quarterbacks in the league don't have to go over and above. They could just be themselves. Like, they want Jalen to elevate his game with a new offense. Why? Keep building the team. You don't want to spend money on offense now? You're asking him to do shit I don't believe he can do. Or they would have done it. I'm not in disagreement. I'm totally not in disagreement with you. I think what they need to do is continue to keep the pace of what they do. Keep bringing good players in. Bring some free agents in. If you lose AJ, fine. Replace AJ. But not with a dude. Replace him. If you want to keep making Jalen Hurts the quarterback of your team moving forward, when you replace AJ, you can't replace AJ with Jahan Dotson. You got to replace him with George Pickens or people like that. I'm just making an example. Like when you replace one day Barkley, you got to replace Barkley with like Bijan Robinson. You're just not going to replace Barkley with a dude. Max Crosby, I'm not spending $35 million on an edge rusher that I think is overrated. I think he's a fine player. I think he's great. I think he's a wonderful dude. $35 million? This guy makes what? $15 million less than my QB? Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Dude, I'll take that money. Look, I'll sign Chubb. The other 10, I'll give it to Nakobe. Kobe. I'll kick it up to $13 million. I want you to be the replacement for Zach Bond in a year. Because we're going to move off of Zach Bond. That's your fucking job. Then you have an even stronger linebacking core. And you keep him at a reduced rate. And you keep him at 13 and you got a hometown deal because if the guy balls out next year, he's a $17, $18 million guy if he ever stays healthy. And what you do is you bring in Chubb at 12. Instead of paying 26 or 24, 23 even, for Jalen Phillips. Let him go to Tennessee and get murdered. I agree. Khalil Mack, look, I'm looking to get great players in. I'm not looking to get fossils. Seals, would you sign Mac Jones and trade McKee? Why in God's name would the 49ers trade Mac Jones when Brock Purdy's consistently been hurt 2 of the last 3 years? If I'm Kyle Shanahan, that guy, to me, if the only way I'm getting rid of Mac Jones is give me a second rounder. And it better be a high second rounder. I'm not just hey, here's a 4th rounder. Go ahead, take Mac. And then what? I lose Purdy and I got who? Nobody's like Trey Lance? I know he's not there. He's in Los Angeles. Yeah, but you can trade for him. It doesn't mean hey, when you're under contract, you can trade for people. Seals, what do you think the price tag for Devin Lloyd? Somebody sent me something on him. Devin. By the way, Angelo Cataldi will join us at the bottom of the hour. He's going to be in the $13 to $17 million range. You're looking at potentially 3 years. Projected at a 3-year. No, it's wrong. $20 million. 3 years, $60.4 million. That's what you're looking at for him. He's already is set to earn right now in 26, 14.75. He's a $20 million. Dude, these guys are not cheap. They're not. Dudes like Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd, these are $20 million a year guys. That's right. Barkley played a huge role in both Super Bowls. Excuse me? What are you talking about here? That's right. Barkley wasn't here for the first one. What's the point? Yeah, that's when he ran the offense through AJ. And A.J. Brown was one of the reasons that you got there. And Jalen was an RPO running. Here, in 2022, Jalen had 800 yards rushing. This last year, he had half that. Half that. And by the way, in 14, he had one of the worst years of any starting quarterback in pro football who played north of 15 games. 2,900 yards and 18 touchdowns. That's shit you do at Army. If Jalen is so elite, put him on the Bills. They won't win 5 games. Of course they won't win 5 games. Devin Lloyd does not put his hand in the dirt. He's an edge guy, though, and plays outside LB. I think he's a hell of a player. Somebody's going to get a hell of a player. Like, you know where I think he fits? Pittsburgh. But I'm not sure Pittsburgh's going to spend that kind of money. I just don't believe that. Hurts needs to make up his mind. Are you going to come in and ball out, run, keep the defense off balance, be a weapon? Hey, let me say this, dual threat. If Jalen Hurts doesn't run this year, his market value is cut in half. He's not a 25. He's a $25 million guy. If he's a dual threat player, he's up there 50 because of what he's done. I'll tell you one thing he does better than Lamar Jackson. He fits into an offensive approach better than Lamar does. You know why? Jalen knows his weaknesses. Lamar doesn't. Lamar's in-game situational play, in my opinion, is suspect. Not running when he needs to. Overthrows. Panics. I think he panics a bit, especially in the playoffs. I think Lamar panics. And maybe it's the bad word, panic, but I think he presses. You could use panic or press. I think he presses. He's very competitive. I also happen to think that at times he doesn't like to put shitty tape up. Like if he's not 100%, I'm not sure he's willing to go out and play. I think he always wants to be at 100% max to play. And I don't think he can do that. I think you got to play injured. I mean, Josh Allen played his last 4 games with a broken foot. He was in a boot every day. Had a broken foot. Justin Herbert had a broken hand. These guys were playing banged up. I don't think he does that. I don't think he goes the extra mile like that. Angelo will join us at the bottom. If Kyle had elite quarterback, would he be 2-0 in the Super Bowl? If Kyle, when Kyle was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta, I never thought Matt Ryan was the MVP that year. Has he ever had an elite quarterback in the Super Bowls? He had Jimmy Garoppolo and he had Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is excellent in the pocket. I just think he's a fragile dude. Why not put up 3,800 with nobody other than a tight end? Hey, be nice if he had a check down game, John. It'd be great if he had a screen game. John, if he had a screen game where he checked down, he'd throw for 4,400 yards every year. Do you understand that the reason why I say Hurts will never throw for $4,000? The offensive passing game's not set up to. You don't have a complex offense. There's no checkdowns in it. $20 million for 3.5 sacks? Really? Can't be serious. Well, he's expected to sign a 3-year, $60.4 million deal with how much guaranteed? Let's see here. 60.4 over 3 years is projected market value. And I would assume that number is going to be about 29, maybe 48. Probably 48 million guaranteed out of that 60. 48, I'd say 48. So if they keep AJ and Goddard, and that's a big if, the only player I'm going for on offense is Isaac Seumalo. Hey, you know what? I got a guy, too, for you. That Kyle Pitts kid. Spread offense. He can't block with shit. 1,000 yards his rookie year. They went through transition with Michael Penix, and they never figured out what they were going to do with Kirk Cousins. This last year, he had 960 yards on 88 catches. And you could put him in the slot. I mean, Kyle Pitts, a tight end, move him in the slot. You got to play him off ball because he's not going to be on strong side because he can't take on big-time ends. And AJ and Devontae, if AJ's still on the team. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is a better pass catcher than Goddard. And he's younger. He's 25. And I think he had a hell of a year ago. And he's going to cost you money. Let's see. What's his projected price tag? Kyle Pitts. Projected $16 million. Just north of 16. A little high. Kyle Pitts is from Philly. I know. Xander said that yesterday to me. Devin Lloyd has primarily played linebacker in the NFL, so the sacks aren't there. If you remember something, too, not Hurts season, go back and take a look at Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick in his first 3 years wasn't a sack guy. They moved him out, and they put him down and put his hand in the ground, and he became a sack guy. I think it was 4 years in a row he went double digits with 3 different teams. So, again, look at something like that. I think Devin Lloyd, I've loved him since he came out of Utah. I wanted the Eagles to draft the kid. I think Jalen's better at managing the game than Lamar. I do. Okay? I do. I think he's better. That'd be interesting. But why would Pitts go to a team that he beat? I'd like to see him in Tampa. Kyle Pitts, because Zach Robinson is now the offensive coordinator there, and he was in Atlanta. Pitts, Evans, Godwin, and Emeka Buka. And then you have Bucky Irvin. I think that'd make a good offense for the Buccaneers and for Baker Mayfield. It'd make them one of the better offensive units in the NFC if they were able to do something like that. I just suspect on him. Like if you put him on a strong side, Kyle Pitts, he's not a very physical guy. Dan Mullen said that when he came out of Florida, that he wasn't that dude. If I'm the Eagles, I had a proven outside cornerback, sign Chubb, then focus on the offense. See, if you go Chubb, you go to $12 million there. You drop that number down $8 million on Jalen Phillips, and it's the same player. Sign him for a 2-year deal. Sign Chubb to a 2-year contract. And if you want to go into draft and draft another edge, go ahead. Or in the first round, you go O-line. Here, this is what Chubb does. O-line, okay? Tight end in the second. Chubb, you sign for a 2-year deal at $12 million, 10 less than what you're going to pay for Jalen Phillips. Make sense? That's kind of Howie ball in it. And he played for Vic in 2 places. And Vic's familiar with the kid. Denver and also in Miami. Had 8.5 sacks this last year. He's a good football player. He's just in a shitty environment. Plus, you put Chubb next to Jalen Carter, it might make Jalen Carter a better ball player. Here's the thing that I would think about, too. Before I sign Jalen Carter, I better make sure I have somebody quality next to him. Because when you didn't have somebody that was quality next to him at the beginning of the season, it affected him. It may have even gotten him hurt because the amount of reps he had to play. When you got Phillips, the whole defense got better, including Carter. So you better make sure you got a dude next to him. That's going to take some of the pain away from the guy, like in double teams. You give a guy $34 million, $30 million, and you put a stiff next to him, and the kid takes on the double teams, you're back to 1,000 reps. How does that make sense? Last time I checked, no team goes undefeated. Not sure what you're talking about. What team did Barkley go to? The Eagles. Same logic there. Jason, well, the Giants didn't pay him, but we did. Listen, I disagree with that John McMullen take about getting rid of Barkley. Hey, dude, your objective is after. So listen, you get rid of Barkley. And why do you think maybe Daniel Jones struggled in New York? Because you had no run game? Do you think that expedited the exit for Daniel Jones when he didn't have a run game? So you took a quality running back away from a quarterback you just gave $150 million to, right? How's that make sense? Hey, I just paid my quarterback. You know what his logic was? On Philly. Well, I'm paying the quarterback almost $50 million. I'm not going to pay a running back 20. Why? The Eagles do. The Eagles do. They pay a quarterback 50 and pay a running back 20. They do. And they pay one wide receiver 30 and the other guy 25. They do. The Giants don't. Well, that's why you're the Giants. The Eagles don't think like that. I heard Joe Schoen say that. I'm not paying the running back $20 million. Okay? The Eagles do. Eagles gave him $14 million. Oh, we're not. Well, okay. You lost your quarterback and you're back. And now you're back to Jackson Dart and you got a new coach. And the same guy making decisions. Hey, good move, I guess. If we lose AJ, Pitts is worth it, especially in a new offense. And here's the deal. You're talking about threatening the seam because you can line him in the slot or you can play him off the line of scrimmage. The problem with the Eagle offense now is you don't threaten the middle of the field. You have no threat in the middle of the field. You threaten the seams, outside and slants. You know the most devastating play in your offense is? It's the slant with AJ. And now that's not becoming proficient enough. because you're not seeing it enough. Seals, what type of contingencies are built into contracts to shield organizations against injuries? Who do they need to retire or contract relief, landing cam, or real issues? Catastrophic knee injuries. Like if a guy blows his knee out, there's an insurance policy for the owner, a Lloyd's of London policy. Like if he can never play again and it's a catastrophic injury, there's an insurance policy every player has in his contract. And the owner, the teams get relief. They don't get cap relief on that, though. They get salary relief. So you got to eat that. Now, with the new collective bargaining agreement, you could defer the money, I think 3 years. And I think you can file for catastrophic injuries to see if you can get relief. And I think you have to, I think that goes to an arbitrator. I think I'll have to look on that, but Cam Jurgens is in trouble, in my opinion. He's absolutely in trouble. So do you think Harbaugh might have negotiated a roster control to coach the Giants? Not sure why he would sign that GM. I'm not sure either on why he would sign with that GM. All right, guys, I got to tell you something here. By the way, a little bit later on, I'd never seen anything in Philadelphia in my entire life when I heard a superstar baseball player. We're going to talk to Angelo Cataldi later about it. Bryce Harper's like, well, what are you questioning me for? Well, dude, you're not productive. I mean, you signed a $35 million a year contract and you signed a $10+ year contract with the Phillies. And when people start questioning you hitting 238 and you're going 0 for 28, you might want to sit back and go, hey, look, criticism. I mean, kid, where are we going here? The back end of this contract might not be as friendly as Dave Dombrowski thought it was going to be. We're going to start calling him Dave Dombrowski, not Dombrowski. That thing's not looking good. So I'm going to get to Angelo on that and the greatness of Daryl Morey. We'll have to hit on that too a little bit later, but I got to tell you something. So Angelo, I'm very sure likes fraternities. And now we have a new one. Let me see here. We got a 33-year-old Sean Mannion. And now we got, what is his name? Parks Frazier, who's 34 years old.